Good morning, welcome to St George's Park. Before we kick off with questions, Gareth would like to say just a few words.
Yes, just really to say I realise the last week has been a very difficult one for certainly for our organisation. I felt it was important to step forward in a leadership position at this moment in time, and very much looking forward to the challenge of working with the players over the next 10 days to get the results that everybody in the country wants.
Nick?
Gareth, would you like the job full time?
I think my role, Nick, is to the last week was very difficult, and we've got an opportunity to work with a group of players who are young, need some guidance. We've got to provide stability. So I've not had any chance to think anything other than how we prepare for this week, how we get the best opportunity to get the results that we want, and anything beyond that can wait when everybody's had time to breathe.
Absolutely understand. How difficult actually was it in terms of trying to get the squad together at such short notice?
Well, I think Sam and Sammy and myself had a meeting 2 weeks ago regarding the under-21 squad and the senior squad. The basis of what's gone on over the last couple of years is there's been lots of positives. The squad that did the job in Slovakia did very well. We felt, why veer too much from that? We obviously lost a couple of players over the weekend from that. So there was some need to think about replacements. But we felt that stability was important. We've had so much change, certainly in terms of the age of the squad and the inexperience of the squad. So I think that the basis of the squad from before and just one or two other players that we felt could add to what we're doing.
You've called Marcus Rashford in, obviously got that hat-trick for you for the under-21s. Do you see him now as probably a senior England player, or for example if there's a under-21 tournament next summer, does he come back into the reckoning for that? How do you feel he will evolve this season as an England player?
That depends if I'm the under-21 manager in the summer. I think he was outstanding for us last month. He's starting for Manchester United. What impressed me most was his mentality towards the whole week. I think you can all see his ability and the effect he's had on games. But his maturity around the camp, the way he settled into a group, he was still the youngest player in the under-21 squad. But he took to that, no problems at all. And I thought his performance was excellent. So again, it was a discussion we'd had 2 weeks ago, and I didn't see any reason to change that plan.
And Jesse Lingard's done well for you under 21 level, of course. And do you see him coming in because of Adam Lallana's injury, or would you have liked to have got him in anyway, even if that hadn't happened?
I think Jesse is a player that we were really impressed with over the 2 years working with him in the under 21s. He's now establishing himself in Jose's team, which I think speaks volumes for the level of performance he's hitting. Under pressure in the European Championships, we thought he was our best performer. And so I think it's an exciting moment to bring him into the squad.
If there is a surprise inclusion, would it be Glenn Johnson, at the age of 32, coming back into the squad for the first time in over 2 years?
Yeah, and I can understand that. I think clearly Kyle Walker and Nathaniel Klein were the two right-backs last time. We lost Nathaniel. What's the rationale? Well, I think the squad over the last 2 years, we've gone young. And I'm not sure you can keep doing that. I think at times there's a moment for some experience around that. I think in the summer we saw that we've got some really exciting young players, but in key pressure moments there's a bit of a lack of experience, lack of big match experience. And at this moment in time, when I'm looking at who might come into that, to be able to bring a player in with 50 plus caps into that squad was something that we thought long and hard about, but we felt was the right decision.
You've named Wayne Rooney as your captain. Mm-hmm. Does that mean he starts against Malta? And if so, where?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not sure why I would ever give the opposition that sort of information. But the decision to make him captain is quite simple. What I've felt from what I've seen around St George's over the 2 years, what I've gleaned from talking to staff over 2 years is that he's the outstanding leader in that group. again, period of change after the summer and now this month. And the most important thing at that time is leadership. That's on and off the field, and I think that Wayne has provided that over the last 2 years. I think the way he's matured into that role is really impressive, and there was no doubt in my mind about keeping him in that position.
Last time England faced Malta was 16 years ago. You played. Do you remember much about the game?
I was only reminded about it recently. I think we won, so that's a plus. It was a bit tighter than perhaps people might think those games are going to be, which is a reminder of, the challenge that faces us. Look, we've got to look for the same results in the 2 matches that are coming up. That's the task that we've been given.
Just one last one from me. Have you spoken to Sam since he's moved on, and has he offered you any advice or anything like that?
No, we exchanged messages, and from my point of view that was important. I didn't want to be seen as somebody that was waiting in the wings for an opportunity. And I think Sam knew that. He knew that I was there to support him in any way possible. So, but I felt it was important to thank him. The working relationship from my point of view was very positive. He's obviously got his situation to deal with now. And I've got to get on with leading the country forward.
Gareth, you said it's been a difficult week. Were you shocked by the situation surrounding Sam Allardyce?
All I can say is when I came in here Tuesday morning, I didn't expect to be in charge of the team at 6 o'clock at night. So things happened so quickly. The situation developed so quickly. But I think when you're in football, you get used to that sort of speed of the way that things happen. And it was a moment to step up and put myself forward as the leader of this group. I think when I was looking at how this might play out for the team, I was in the best position to take them forward for these matches.
Given what recent events, the England job has previously been spoken about as the best job in English football. Do you still see it that way, or has the role been diminished somewhat?
I think the role is an honour. At the beginning of last week, I was thinking, this is a difficult situation for the organisation. Then I was thinking it's important that we show leadership and that we step up and we start to get things in place that give the team the best chance of winning. And then as the week has gone on, I've been reflecting on what an honour it is to lead the team. There's no question. I'm a proud and patriotic Englishman. I think the opportunity to do this is something nobody will ever be able to take away from me. And I'm looking forward to the challenge. I'm excited by it. So, in my view, it's a wonderful job to have for whatever period of time.
And how big a moment is this for you personally? Huge
for my family, huge for everybody that's helped me along the way in my career, from when I was a young player right through, everybody that's touched and affected my development as a person. I think will take enormous pride at seeing me lead the team.
Hi Gareth. Obviously the top job brings with it a whole new profile and a whole new level of scrutiny. Is that something that makes you nervous?
I'm actually the issues and the workings of the last week have been almost identical to running the under-21s, and that was one of the reasons that I felt it was so important that I did this, because in such a short period of time to be able to turn around the opposition planning, the selection of our own squad, the training week, all of the arrangements that are needed in that period of time. Actually, they're all issues I've dealt with over the last 3 years. Yes, the profile and the insight on that is greater. The players are a bit older. But from my point of view, if I was comparing it to when I took over at Middlesbrough, where everything that was thrown at me in that short period of time was new, this has been far, far calmer. And I've been able to enjoy it a lot more and look forward with a lot more excitement rather than the trepidation I was probably feeling 10 years ago when I stepped into that seat.
But you would accept now that every decision you make is going to be under far more scrutiny than it ever has been?
Well, I'm well aware, as any manager of any team, that everybody has their view on what the team should be. Everybody's going to have a view on how you operate. They're going to have a view of you as a person. But only the people that work with me and really know me well know me as a person. And the team, well, we could all sit in the room and everybody will pick something slightly different. So it's pointless me being distracted by that. The last week I've basically been in a bunker in St George's trying to prepare everything, which has been an interesting social experiment because I've shut myself off to any comment, reading, and actually I've quite enjoyed it. So maybe that's a route forward for players and managers.
The received wisdom about the failures of the England team recently has been, or one of them, is a mental fragility. A, do you accept that? And B, what are you going to do to address that if you do?
Well, I think it's clear that any high-level sports team have got to be able to perform under pressure. I think the thing that struck me before the team went in the summer was that lack of big match experience. And people will say, oh, well, Iceland isn't a big match. Any match with England in a major tournament is a big match and is high pressure. So forget the quality of the opposition, that's the case. And I've worked with a lot of these lads and I know the potential that they have. But this isn't a team at the moment that has lots of Champions League latter stages experience. You take the team 10 years ago and they were all Champions League winners. This team doesn't have those experiences yet. I believe they will over the next few years, and I think their potential is high. But they're going to have to, have some of those experiences, like the summer, as painful as that was. That is only failure if they don't learn from it. It's only failure if we don't take it forward and try to build on the good things that have happened over the last couple of years. So yes, that's an area that I think we can improve, but some of that is just age and experience as well.
Gareth, you talk about the attention that comes with the job and the football decisions that get scrutinised, but we saw last week that also your personal integrity and behaviour comes under the spotlight. Is that something you're prepared for, and is it fair?
Well, I'm prepared. I think one of the keys for me is how it affects my family, those sorts of things. So they're ready for that. My wife's been through the whole doorstepping type scenario. We've lived that one. So how then it affects your children does come into your thinking. But you try and prepare them as best as possible as well, and this will be a good experience for them to live through. So I'm looking at it, as I say, I'm excited by the challenge. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's really important that we build on what happened against Slovakia, and really important that we leave the team at the end of this period of time at the top of the qualifying group. We can't start again. We're into it now. We haven't got time to start again continually. We've got to build on what's been done, and I think there were some good things that came out of that game, and also some things that we can help to improve.
Newspaper investigation last week painted a picture of English football, a particular one. I wonder whether in your experience of the game it's one you recognised.
I have to say that I'm involved in a sport that I love, and an industry that at times I don't like. And really outside of that, the detail of what happened last week, I'm not too au fait with, because I genuinely was locked away. I've heard names mentioned and bits of information, but I don't have the detail, so I don't think I can speculate on what might or might not have happened.
You say it's an industry you don't like. Is that because sometimes the way business is done?
I think there's lots about the industry of football that that I don't like, but it's a sport I love, and representing my country was something that I love, and they're the bits that I have to focus on.
Your own experience as a player, Euro 96, all the way to a semi-final. You have experience there. You also a qualifying campaign in which an England manager resigned in the lose at Wembley. Can you take from those contrasting experience and pass them on to players who you say lack experience?
Yeah, I think, again, when you're thinking about suitability at this moment in time, all of those life experiences are what guide you towards that. So, I've talked to the young players that I work with about their careers, the journey they're going to go on in terms of highs and lows. One moment I showed them a page of things that had gone really well and big matches I'd played in and things I'd won, and then there's another page of being sacked, of missing a penalty, of all the bits and pieces. So what are you? You're neither one or the other. You're a combination of all those experiences. But what those experiences give you is at moments like this, a lot to fall back on, a lot to know what's the right thing to say at the right time. And the realisation that leadership at moments like this is really crucial, and I think that's what I've got to provide for the group of players and support staff over the next 2 weeks.
Hi Gareth, you said that you spoke to Sam. Do you think it was the right decision for him to go?
I haven't spoken with Sam. I've exchanged messages with him. I think the decisions around whether he stayed or go, that's wasn't my bag. That was for the hierarchy of our organisation. I don't know all the detail again, and frankly I've got enough to focus on over the next 7 weeks.
And you've got a tough job ahead of you. Do you think you've got the experience to take on the job if it was offered to you full time?
I think we've got 7 weeks to prepare the team in the best possible fashion, and to give the players an experience that they feel that they enjoy, that hopefully we can improve them a bit, and that they win. And after that 7 weeks, then everybody will take a step back and have time to think a bit clearer about what the future might be for any number of different reasons. So my focus is on how do we get the team to the top of the league at the end of that period.
Gareth, your playing career overlapped with Wayne Rooney's a little bit. Is that a relationship that you've retained over the years?
Not particularly. I mean, he was an incredible emergence on the scene when I was still in the England squad. I can remember the game at Sunderland when he played against Turkey and had such an incredible impact on it. I've got to say, without being disrespectful, the character I saw in front of me last week when I saw him was a stark contrast. The way he's matured, the way he spoke eloquently, his understanding of what was needed for the whole group in terms of his leadership, his captaincy, being able to speak about things that affected everybody. I couldn't have been more impressed with the discussion we had.
So when you speak of yourself stepping up at this difficult time and showing that leadership in terms of the playing group, it's important that Wayne is there in that position and he does the same, effectively really steps up and shows them the way.
I think that is important. I also think that we can't just have one leader. I think we've got to have a team full of leaders, and that's got to emerge over the coming couple of years before the team starts to head towards Russia. It's not right, and you won't have the right environment if you're relying on one person all the time on the field. So I think all of the top sports teams that you'll see, I go back to the team that won the Rugby World Cup here, and everybody will talk about the coaching staff who were fantastic. But there were probably 7 or 8 guys that could have captained that team, and I think that's what you have to create. The team I played in Euro 96 had, I think, 7 captains of their club. I think that's a big part of success. So yes, of course, Wayne bears a lot of the burden for this team, and I think too much at times. And I think it is a moment that everybody has to sort of pull together and step forward.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.